Let's do
Less than
Nazir.
100? Okay. We have Nazir. One who says I'm a Nazir when a son will be born to me, and a son was born to him, he is a Nazir. If a daughter or one of the unknown gender or an androgen was born to him, he is not a Nazir. If he said, when I shall see that there will be a born to me a child, even if there is a born to him a daughter or one of unknown gender or an androgen, he is a male. He's a Nazir. If his wife loves the baby, she is not a Nazir. Reb Shimon says he should say, if I was a viable child, I am a Nazir by previous obligation. But if not, I am a Nazir voluntarily. If she again she gave birth, she is a Nazir. Reb Shimon says she should say, if the first was viable, the first Nazirus was obligatory, and this one is voluntary. And if not, the first Nazirus was voluntary, and this one is obligatory. The one who says, I'm a Nazir and I'm a Nazir when a son will be born to me, or if he began to count his own and then a son was born to him, he completes his own and then counts that of the son. If he says, I'm a Nazir when a son will be born to me and I am a Nazir, if he began to count his own, then a son was born to him, he sets aside his own and counts that of his son and then completes his own. Okay.
Okay. Right. So we said that was if he's in the middle of his 30 days. But now I said yesterday the case that we're going to see in today's Mishnah. But let's see it properly inside now. Hareini Nazir lech liben, the Nazir me'ayom. So he says, first of all, I'm going to be a Nazir whenever my son is born, and in the meantime, I'm taking on 100-day Nazirus. Okay. Nolad lo ben ad shivim. Now, so he started his 100-day Nazirus, and then his wife gave birth to a son. So if this happened before he reached 70 days, lo ifsid klum, he's lost nothing. He'll continue his Nazirus with another 30 days for his son. He'll shave, bring his korbanos, and then he'll continue with 100 minus whatever he started with. So if he was at 65 days, then he'll keep another 35 days of Nazirus, and he's done. La'acha shivim, soseh shivim. But if he's kept more than 70 days, then he loses back down to 70. She'ein tiglachas pachas mishloshim yom, because you cannot have a tiglachas, a haircut, on less than 30 days of growth. So if he got up to the 99th day and then his son is born, now he immediately has to continue with 30 more days of Nazirus for his son, and then he has to keep another 30-day Nazirus for his previous one. Okay. Um, Next parak. Mishamar Hareini Nazir. Okay, Stam Nazirus 30 days. Megalech Yom Shloshim Ve'echad. So he keeps 30 days, Mr. Stam, and then on the 31st day is when he has his haircut. Ve'im Gilach Liyom Shloshim Yatsa. However, B'di Avad, if he kept up to the 30th day and then on the 30th day he said, okay, that's me done, and he goes and does his haircut and brings his korbanos and whatever, nonetheless he's yotze. Okay, because we say b'diavad that miktsas yom kekulo. The partial day is close enough. Okay, cool. However, if he says Hareini Nazir shloshim yom, if he instead of just saying I'm a Nazir and letting the default period fall onto him, he says I'm going to be a Nazir for 30 days. That he says now that's 30 full days. Im gilach yom shloshim lo yatsa. So if he went ahead and shaved on the 30th day, he was not yotze, and he's gonna have to reset his clock and do another 30 days. Okay. Mi shenazar shtei naziros. Okay, so now what happens when you have back-to-back naziros? Megalech es harishona yom shloshim ve'echad. So as we said in the previous Mishnah, he shaves on the 31st day, and that 31st day also becomes his first day of the next naziros. There's a shnia yom shlishim ve'echad. So therefore, on the 61st day, he's going to be shaving for his second period. Im gilach es harishona yom shloshim. If he shaved the first one on the 30th day, like we saw in the previous Mishnah, there's a stam naziros, and so b'diavad we say, okay, he finished his naziros on the 30th day. Now that means that his second period starts on the 30th day and therefore ends on the 59th day, and therefore he should be shaving on the 60th day. Megalech es hashniya yom shishim. V'im gilach yom shishim chaser echad. But if it nonetheless shaved on the 59th day, it's exactly the same halacha as the previous period. It's yotze. It's the 30th day of the second period, and therefore it's still okay. V'zo eidos he'id Rabbi Papias and Rabbi Papias came and gave Eidos. This might be recorded in Maseches Eidos. I don't remember if this is specifically in Eidos. Al Nishin Nazar Shtei Naziros. If he did two consecutive Naziros, Shim Gilach Es Harishona Yom Shloshim. If he shaved on the 30th day for the first one, Megalech Es Hashniya Yom Shishim. Then his second one has to be on the 60th day. V'im Gilach Liyom Shishim Chaser Echad. And if he shaved on the 60 minus 1 day, in other words, the 59th day, Yatza, he's nonetheless Yatza Sheyom Shloshim Ole Lo Min Aminyan, because the 30th day counts for him as part of the count. Okay, so that's just the last part of the Mishnah is just bringing an edus that this is in fact the correct halacha. Okay,
Hmm.
back
Okay.
to Nadarim Yud Aleph
Uh,
Hey.
Yud Aleph Hey. If his wife vowed and he thought it was his daughter who had vowed, or if his daughter vowed and he thought it was his wife who had vowed, or if she vowed to become a Nazirite and he thought that she had vowed concerning an offering, or if she vowed concerning an offering and she thought that she had vowed to become a Nazirite, or she made a neder prohibiting figs and he thought that she had made a neder prohibiting grapes, or she made a neder prohibiting grapes and she thought that it made a neder prohibiting figs, he must revoke the neder again. If a man's, I'm sorry, if she said, Kohen on these figs and grapes with respect to my tasting them, and he confirmed the neder with regard to figs is confirmed in its entirety. If he revoked the neder with regard to figs, he is not revoked until he revokes it with regard to grapes as well. If she said, Kohen on figs with respect to my tasting them and grapes with respect to my tasting them, these are two nedarim. If a man said, I know that there are nedarim, but I did not know that they could be revoked, he can revoke the neder. If he said, I know that Nadarim could be revoked, but I did not know that this was a Neder, but Meir says he cannot revoke it. The sages, however, say he can revoke it. Okay. That's enough. Okay.
Subos.
Uh, okay. Subos. Okay. Yud Gimel Dalet. If one claims vessels of oil from another and he admits to the vessels, Admon says, since he has admitted to part of the claim, he must swear. The sages, whoever say this is not an admission of the same kind as a claim, said Rabbi Gamliel, I approve of Admon's view. If one stipulated to give money to his son-in-law and subsequently reneged, she should sit until what? I'm sorry. Oh, okay. If one stipulated to give money to his son-in-law and subsequently reneged, she should sit until her hair turns white. Admin says she can say, had I stipulated for myself, I would sit until my hair turns white. Now that my father has stipulated for me, what can I do? Either marry me or divorce me. Said Rabbi Gamliel, I approve of Admin's view. If one contests the ownership of a field that he signed on as a witness, Admin says he can say the second one is amenable to me, the first one is more powerful than he. And the sages, however, say he has lost his right. If he made a boundary mark for another, he has lost his right. Okay.
Yeah.
Um, okay. Aleph Tet. We may set up an oven, a stove, or a millstone during Kol Hamoed. But Rehuda says we would not roughen the millstones initially. We may build a railing for a roof or for a balcony in an unskilled manner, but not in a professional manner. We may replaster the cracks and roll them as if they were with a roller, with the hand and the foot, but not with the trowel. A hinge or a socket or a beam or a lock or a key that broke may be repaired during Kol Hamoed, provided that one does not plan his work for Kol Hamoed. All pickled foods that can be eaten during the festival may be pickled during Kol Hamoed. One who turned over his olives to soften them, and then morning befell him, or an accident befell him, or his workers misled him, may place the first beam and leave it until after the festival. This is the opinion of Rabbi Yehuda. Rabbi Yossi says he may pour the olives into the press, complete the process, and seal the barrels in his usual manner. Okay. And Orla. Oh, Orla. Olive. Hey. Bob. If a shoe of Orla or a vineyard of Kalayim came mixed up with those shoots, one may not gather it. But if he gathered it, it becomes void in 201, provided he did not gather with this in mind. Rabbi Yossi says he may even gather it with his mind, that it becomes void in 201. Leaves, greens, young sprouts, the saps of vines and vine buds are permitted in respect to Orla and Revi, and to a Nazarite are forbidden as in a Sarah. Reb Yoshi says vine bloods are forbidden because they are fruit. Reb Elliot says if one curdles milk with the sap of orla, it is forbidden. Reb Shua, I heard especially that if one curdles with the sap of leaves or the sap of the roots, is permitted. With the sap of unripe root, it is forbidden because it counts as fruit. Defective grapes, kernels, grape husk, and the wine made from these, the skin of a pomegranate and a sprout, nutshells, and filled fruit stones are permitted on account of orla, as in a shara, and to Nazarite, but permitted in respect to revi. Fallen unripe fruit of all are forbidden. Okay. And so to Nagayim. Okay, Yud Daled Hey. Preferably, the two birds should be identical in appearance, height, money, and monetary value, and they should be acquired at the same time. Even if they are not identical, they may be used. If you purchase one bird one day and another bird the next day, they may be used. If the first bird was slaughtered and was found to be a non-wild bird, he should acquire a mate for the second one. The first one may be eaten. If he slaughtered the first bird and it was found to be treifa, it should acquire a mate for the second. It is permitted to benefit from the first one. If the first blood spilled, the bird should have been sent away, is left to die. If the bird that should have been sent away dies, the blood of the slaughtered bird must be spilled out. The cedar wood should be 1 cubit long and as thick as a quarter of a leg of a bed. Measure the thickness by splitting the bed leg into two pieces and then splitting the two pieces into four. The Ezov may not be Greek, must not be Greek Ezov or Kokala Ezov or Norman Ezov, nor Desert Ezov, or nor any other Ezov with a disqualifying description. On the eighth day, the Mitzvah brings three animals: a sin offering, a guilt offering, and a burnt offering. A poor person brings birds for the sin offering and the burnt offering. Okay.
Finally, Horayos.
Okay. Bios. Base hay. They're not liable to a sacrifice for the sin of hearing the voice of adjuration, nor for uttering an oath to lips, nor for the tumor contamination of the temple or its consecrated articles. The king is like them. These are the words of Rabbi Yossi Agili. The Akiva says the king is liable for all of them, except for hearing the voice of adoration. But the king may not judge, nor be judged, may not testify, nor be not testified against. For all the commandments of the Torah for which the one is liable, for willful transgression to karet, and for inadvertent transgression to a sin offering, the individual offers a she-lamb, a she-goat, the king offers a he-goat, and the anointed Kohen and the court offer a bull. For idolatry, the individual king and the anointed Kohen offers a she-goat, and the court offers a bull and a goat. A bull is a burnt offering, and a goat as a sin offering. With regard to an Asham Tali, the individual and the king are liable, but the appointed Gohen and the court are exempt. With regard to the definite guilt offering, the individual, the king, and the anointed Kohen are liable, but the court is exempt. For the sin of hearing the voice of adoration or the utterance of an oath of the lips or the tumor contamination of the temple or its consecrated articles, the court is exempt, but the individual, the king, and the anointed Kohen are liable. But the Kohen Gadol is not liable for the tumor contamination of the temple or its consecrated articles, and these are the words of Reb Shimon. What do they offer? The variable sin offering, Rabbi Elliot says the king offers an ego.
Okay, I can.
All right, good. Okay.
All right. Have a lovely
All right.
day.
Have a great day. Enjoy. And I'll see you tomorrow, Mr. Shum. Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.